Hi, I'm Pete Maldonado, the CEO of Chomps, and I'm excited to welcome you to Chompcast, a Chomps original podcast where we'll have 15 to 30-minute fireside chats focused on the CPG industry.
And I'm Rashid, the COO. Together, we'll be sharing valuable insights, advice, and real-world examples with aspiring and current business owners. We're happy to have you here along for the ride.
Welcome to Chompcast, episode 14. This week we interviewed Michelle Razavi and Nikki Elliott, co-founders of Elavi. Michelle and Nikki from Elavi, please introduce yourselves and introduce Elavi to us.
Hi, everyone. Super excited to be here. I'm Michelle. I'm the founder.
And I'm Nikki, co-founder.
And Elavi is a functional wellness brand on a mission to help people eat healthier and feel better in their bodies. We do this by delivering high quality, nutrient dense snack products that you can enjoy anytime, anywhere, everything shelf stable, and more importantly, designed to be delicious and better for you and for the environment.
Awesome. Thank you. So let's talk about what the actual products are. So what do you guys sell?
Yeah, so we have two product lines already. We have these really cool superfood nut butters. This is our new packaging, by the way. So it'll be out live by the time this airs. So they're unlike anything you've ever seen before, candidly. They're cashew butter that is enhanced with superfood powders such as blue spirulina, pomegranate, beet, cacao. That's where they get their color from. So they're actually colored nut butters, and the color is naturally occurring from these super plants that have pigments from the antioxidants they carry. What's also really unique about them is that we use hemp seed oil, which is unlike any other nut butter brand. It's not only great for the planet because hemp is a regenerative agriculture crop, which is great for soil health, but it's also great for humans as it's anti-inflammatory, great for skin health as well too. And these kind of totter the line between dessert and nut butter because they kind of have this more syrupy texture. So you could drizzle them over your oats, over your fruit. They're fun. They have this light sweetness, kind of like a frosting taste. But they're plant-based, low sugar, great source of healthy fats and protein. And then I'll let Nikki talk about our other product line.
Yeah, kind of the product we debuted in the market with was our collagen protein bars. We have 4 flavors of these, and really just looking to kind of level up the protein bar category. These are boosted with collagen, which is great for both men and women over the age of 25. Unlike most collagen bar companies out there, we made it taste really good. So we're proud of that innovation as well.
Yeah, and what's also really cool is the size. If you look at it, they're 120 calories and 8 grams of protein. So we wanted to really serve that consumer that didn't want a full meal replacement bar or something that's in the 200-300 calorie range, but at the same time keep you full for hours. And blood sugar levels stay balanced while consuming our bars because of the high protein fat content compared to the carbs. So you get this very balanced energy that doesn't have a sugar crash that you see with most bars. So really thinking about metabolic health as well too.
Awesome. Yeah, I would say those nut butters are really cool. And without showing it, it's like, it looks like you could do art with it. It looks like paint or something like that, but it's like edible paint. My kids loved it, by the way. So I was putting it in my yogurt, my oatmeal and stuff. And then they wanted it. They had I put a couple scoops of ice cream, and then they would actually stir it up, and they would do little designs with it. Yeah, it's actually much better when you think about it. It's like a good replacement for the chocolate syrup or whatever you put on ice cream. So
exactly.
Well, I think it's an awesome idea.
So what's the origin? How did you guys come about? How long has the product been out on market, and your guys' background? I'm curious to see how you guys got started.
Yeah, so we started in San Francisco. We were teaching fitness classes at Equinox and working full-time corporate day jobs. So we had these 16-hour days where we struggled to get optimal nutrition in, living out of our bags, constantly changing back and forth between fitness clothes to work clothes. And we really felt abandoned by the packaged food space in terms of the protein bars and the nut butters, because there wasn't just anything that could keep us full. I had a lot of gut health issues, so a lot of the sugar alcohols or the whey protein upset my stomach. And
I was struggling to find something that I actually really enjoyed and wanted to come back to every day.
Mm-hmm. And we both have sweet tooth, so we were trying to find something that can satisfy that sweet tooth that we wanted without, paying the price of either the sugar alcohols or just a lot of sugar and get the crash after. So trying to kind of blend the best of both worlds of, we're active, we need more protein. That's, key to stay full. And especially if you're working out a ton, but also we have a sweet tooth, and how do we satisfy that? So started out with the collagen protein bars to really solve that need of helping us fuel on the go and get sustainably sourced protein and collagen into our diets. The nut butters were a progression once we already started the company. We're looking for a way to add onto our product set, listen to our customers who are wanting something plant-based, low sugar, and the nut butters were a natural progression because we love nut butters, and we saw opportunity in the category because up until Justin's coming out the packets, wasn't much category in the nut butter space. And so kind of bringing in that love for, dessert and having that sweet tooth, but also making it functional and good for you and filling was really key. And that's really how the genesis started. Well, what if we enhance this kind of like a superfood smoothie, but allow it to be something you can take on the go and have it be portable?
And did you just stumble on the fact that adding these superfoods will deliver this unique color experience?
That was a lot of R&D, candidly. Otherwise, anyone else could have done it. It took a long time to find the right color, find the right mix of ingredients. And then from there, not only is the color, but then the second layer is, how do you make sure it tastes good? How do you make sure the consistency is right? Really trying to solve the pain points of Justin's nut butters, which was, they had added sugars that we didn't want. We wanted to be natural. We noticed that they had the clump at the bottom of the packaging. That was just, you felt kind of robbed. You're like, this
half of it is gone. Now you're able to come out of the package. Yeah, we wanted something that like you got full experience out of the packet. And so that's what we almost call them, like drizzles, like they kind of just can pour out.
Mm-hmm. So it was a trifecta play of color, of taste, of texture, all while keeping the integrity of our company of clean ingredients. And so the amount of time it took to pull that off was almost like 9 months.
Yeah, and we also wanted products that are efficacious and that are really like body strengthening for people, and that they really come back to and trust, because they not only love like the taste of the product, but they love how they feel after they have Elavi. And we just think there's this brand loyalty and this trust that comes with that. And so we're really proud of both product lines have garnered some serious support.
Was it tough to figure out a formulation where you weren't adding refined sugars and other types of oils? I assume that those aid in manufacturing, shelf stability. Like, I know if I think back to like our product, we don't have sugar, and a lot of times sugar is added to jerky to help with active water. It's not, in some cases it's sometimes flavor, but for the most part it's to be able to hit those critical control points to make it shelf stable. Just curious, is that a similar situation when you were going through R&D?
1000%. Because there's so many different sugar options in the market, especially for protein products, and not all sugar is created equal, both in terms of taste, in terms of metabolic function, of how the body digests it, breaks it down. So from my personal standpoint, I can't do sugar alcohols. They cause a lot of gut inflammation, bloating, stomach upset. So that was already a no for me.
And I really hate the taste of stevia and some of the other sweeteners that are out there. And so just like at the minute I taste it, she's not palpable.
She's very sensitive.
Very sensitive. So like between those, we're like, okay, we have to find something that can fit both of us. It's a really good kind of complementary palette that we have, because it's making sure it's functionally digestible and then also that it tastes really good.
Right. So the challenge was, okay, no refined sugar, no sugar alcohols, and finding the right low glycemic sweetener that wasn't stevia, which is very sensitive to the taste, and monk fruit, which is great, but if you have too much, you can kind of go over the line. So we had to play with the right ratio. We had literally like 20 jars of kind of different prototypes of different ratios of monk fruit. Then we added in date to kind of balance it out. And date adds a great low glycemic sweetener without adding that sugar spike, but also that kind of artificial taste. So it cut the monk fruit perfectly well, so that you get that sweetness without the oversweetness, and you get the date as well that adds kind of like that perfect blend. So it was a lot of trial and error.
And a lot of trial and error from an oil standpoint too, because sourcing of oils, sustainability of oils, clean oil, that was something we're also really passionate about, and it was difficult to kind of figure out which one we wanted to go with that didn't really impact taste, that could use
impact color,
blending, and the machinery. There's a lot of, like you're mentioning, there's chemical, balances, food chemistry that you have to think about, but also the taste experience and also the manufacturing process behind it, and then sourcing and cost of goods, like a lot of factors to consider to bring a product to market.
No, I think that the oils uses a lot of chatter right now. There's always been, but like the type of oils being used and how do you better clean up your ingredient deck to stay away from those oils that are going to have really catastrophic impacts to your health.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Let's talk about branding for a minute. So the name Elavi, where does that come from?
Yeah, so it's our last names put together. So Michelle, Razavi, Avi,
Elliott, ELL.
so you get it together and it's
Elavi.
Elavi. We also love that the word Elavi is a play on the word elevate.
Mm-hmm.
So it's this mission to elevate our packaged foods, mission to elevate yourself with the foods that you eat. You know, as fitness trainers, people come to us saying, okay, what workout do I need to do to XYZ or to lose weight or whatever your goal is? And yes, fitness is fantastic. I would say it's like 10 to 15% of it. It's really diet. That is the source of inflammation. That's your source of energy. If you feel motivated to work out, it impacts your recovery. And, you know, it was such a natural progression for us to get into the nutrition space because it is it really does move the needle in your health goals. And so I would say that that's really part of it for us.
And that was, we're so passionate about fitness, but it was like food kind of closed the loop on this like holistic wellness experience. It was something we struggled both with, like history of eating disorders and struggling with food and finding foods that could really fuel our bodies. And so that it kind of looking back, there was definitely this journey to get here that it all comes together and makes sense and you connect the dots. But that was, it came from a place of struggle and pain points needing something like Elavi.
Yeah. I think I was actually a personal trainer. That's where the idea for Chomps actually came about. So that was, I'd see that, you know, kind of the struggle of trying to help your clients. And, you know, I think it's a great feeling when your client sees those and they reach their goals and you're kind of doing this thing together, but it's also a terrible feeling when they're not hitting their goals and you're kind of like, you know exactly why it is, and it's all about nutrition. You could sit there, I could put them through the best workout, but you're never going to outwork a bad diet. And that was just, it was a real issue. You know, but I think out of necessity comes some great ideas. So that's we're all here talking now, which is great. Let's talk about, so building the brand. I read an article in Forbes. I think it's probably the first time I heard about you guys. My a good buddy, shout out Douglas Yu, actually at Forbes, good buddy of mine.
Yeah, we love them. It's great.
Yeah, that's a great article. Let's talk about that. How much exposure that bring you guys, and let's talk about like building the brand in general. Like, what are you guys doing to get the name out there?
Yeah, I would say one thing we're really intentional about is putting ourselves in front of the company. I would say gone are the days of having an Instagram feed with perfectly curated product photos and, you know, never showing yourself in front of, you know, your product on your website. And now that's the first thing I click onto on the website is going to the about section. I want to know who are the founders, what's their story, why they create this. People buy from people. And I think that's not going to change. And that's such an exciting time because people want to know who's like, what's their pain point? Like, why did they create this? And so that's really driven our branding, our content strategy, the way we talk about ourselves is this extension of really trying to help people through food. We show the behind the scenes constantly on LinkedIn, on our social media. And I think that makes it more endearing and more brings this human aspect to our brand compared to other brands or larger brands that aren't making that investment. And I think, you know, it allows us the opportunity to build alongside a community and have people be a part of the journey so then they feel invested
and empowered. I think it inspires a lot of people too to just see the hustle that it takes, but also that, you know, you can do it. If you have an idea, you want to put your mind to it, like everything's figure outable.
Yeah. And so as we build our brand, we wanted to not only show what's going on behind the scenes, but empower people, to Nikki's point, to, you know, reach for that promotion or try that new hobby or put yourself out of your comfort zone. And everything we do is to help show you what you're capable of. And I think that's really exciting as a brand, is to mean more than just a product. And that's really how we think about brand building, is bringing people along the journey and helping make sure that they walk away with something that impacts them.
Very cool.
As you think about, like, you know, with any brand, there's kind of a journey and key milestones to get to the next level of growth. If you think about your growth journey, any key drivers that allowed you to kind of hit those next tranches over the years?
Yeah, I would say press has really helped us out with getting that legitimacy and that notice. So we got mentioned like Food Business News, and that had Lifetime Fitness reach out to us.
Oh, wow.
Who wanted to bring us into their Lifetime cafes. So I would say that's really been able to help us get recognized and noticed. It's allowed us to then play that off into other retail distribution. I would say just sending a cold LinkedIn message has also been really, really powerful. Like, I think I like cold reached out to Peter, telling him about us, and just how powerful that is to, you know, be unapologetic about what you're building and want to share it with people and share your product with people, just genuinely wanting to get into people's hands. I'd say that's also just been so powerful in word of mouth, in growing it very authentically.
Yeah, and from the beginning, we were with kind of building manufacturing partnerships that we knew we could scale with, because we wanted to have some of those milestones happen fast. Like, we wanted to move quickly. We wanted to gain traction as fast as we could and put ourselves in the right places. And so I think also just, you know, making sure that you're putting everything in place to build a really sustainable business that can grow.
Yeah, I like what you said about the authenticity too, because it's not just, you know, about the brand. It's also like, you know, it's people want to do, but they want to see what you're doing, and they know the whole fake it till you make it idea. Like, that's like, I don't know. I don't think it's kind of there and gone. People love actually seeing the hustle, seeing the entrepreneurs behind the brand. Mm-hmm. And then they also want to know that you genuinely care about them. And I think that, you know, the way you guys are building the brand, I think the relationships that the direct relationships you're building with your customers, you cannot replace that. It's exactly how Rashid and I built Chomps early on. I mean, first off, we had no money. So what were we going to do? And so we had to build a community somehow. And it was about, you know, being in available and being ready to respond and engage with customers. And it goes such a long way. We would not be here today if we didn't do it that way. And it was even a step above that. It was even like CX, like what could we do without that money, just being extremely responsive. So if somebody were to email in, we wanted to email right away back and like just give them a very quick response. And people wanted to know that somebody was there to listen to them. That's it.
Yeah, that's exactly what we do. We have chat support on our phones, and evenings, weekends. I'm like, you know, that is the one thing that we can compete with right now. It's not scalable, but it's so great when people chat us in with questions immediately within like 30 minutes, we're able to respond back, you know, if we're not in a meeting. And we'll do it on weekends, evenings, holidays, and that means the world to people. And we'll sign off saying like Michelle or Nikki, so they know one of the founders is responding to them. They are so much nicer, but they also appreciate it. And then we use it as a tool. Like, by the way, how'd you hear about us? Like, what would you like to see? What would you pay for this like new product that we're thinking about? And then it turns into this very organic opportunity for us to then gather data from that customer and build even further on the relationship.
And people feel part of the kind of the build as well, which has been cool. Like, we love to outsource flavors that people want to see, or even new products that they would like us to work on. Like, it's really empowering for people then to kind of see the journey and know that they're a part of it.
Yeah,
that's interesting.
I would say try to do that for as long as you possibly can. I actually did it we launched the business in 2012. I personally handled all customer service emails until 2018.
Wow.
Somebody in. So I think at that point we were probably over a $10 million business. I think we were in the 8 figures by then. And, you know, so I think a lot of founders just take the easy way out and they just want to kind of delegate it. And that's just not the way to do it. You should be hands-on. Because it also allows you get that feedback is everything too, right? It allows you to be very responsive, but then you know what's going on. You actually know what the customer's thinking and what their pain points are and how can you solve them.
It's interesting because I think like some of the larger CPGs, they don't have the direct contact to the consumer because it goes through so many levels of distribution. So if you think about it, I don't know if you guys have gone through the route of the marketing research studies or the surveys and all these things where you're spending anywhere from 12, 30, 40, 50K to survey a population of 100 or 500 people or 1,000. And then you think about that, you have a bird in hand. Like, you have these customers reaching out to you, you have direct connection with them, and it's a gold mine of information to figure out where can we be better, right? What quality challenges are we having? What are they wanting from an innovation standpoint? And so it's really valuable. So that's why I think part of what we did and did it for so long, it's because it was a two-way street, right? It was a mutually beneficial. Like we were being responsive to the customer, but we were actually hearing them and listening to them and being able to make jobs better.
Yeah, and then they remember you so much and are more likely to refer you to someone else, and it just has this like positive feedback loop that just domino effects into a win for everyone.
Yeah. So we've talked a lot about the past and how you guys started and in your awesome journey. What about if you think about 2023? What are you guys focused on? Any innovations? Any big launches? We're just curious about what's next.
Yeah, so we're fundraising right now to build our team and support a lot of exciting launches we have in the pipeline. I would say the biggest piece of innovation, aside from the nut butters, is a lot of people have been asking us for jars for the nut butters. So like, I love this, my kids love this, can I get this in a larger format? And so we did a test of the jar format to see how it shipped, to see the pricing, kind of just test it on a seasonal flavor without, the expectation of having it be for our hero flavors, and it crushed it. We're already getting so much feedback being like, can we have this for the other flavors? And when people are chatting in, we're like, how much would you pay for it? What do you feel comfortable paying for it?
Because that's why we didn't originally go with the jars, which is like the higher price point of a jar versus packets and the bigger commitment.
Right. So it's been great for us to test, and we've been gathering data this past month on the feedback, and we're going to likely launch with them very soon. So I would say that is something we can look out for, both for like retail, but also for e-commerce is having the larger bulk format, especially as people are looking to go away from less single-use packaging and more multi-use, especially for some of our office clients. So really excited.
We had some fun too, just seeing where we can see Elavi from like a food service standpoint, smoothie shops, donut shops, confectionery, like how can these be used as a better for you spread or, drizzle frosting, whatever we can put Elavi in. We're trying to experiment for these really fun collaborations. We've already been so impressed with like seeing it in donuts, seeing it in smoothie bowls, in smoothies, like a lot of opportunity there too. So that's an exciting thing that we want to do more of in 2023. It kind of just puts the brand out there and, keeps kind of the inspiration going of what's possible.
It's all Instagrammable as well. It's just like
yes, absolutely
awesome pops.
Yeah,
it is interesting because you think about portability and convenience is always going to be a factor. But in this post-COVID environment, the shift of folks working from home, like it makes a lot more sense to have a jar. Because it's something that we leaned into the pantry packs, the larger sizes, and it's worked well for us. But our hero is always going to be the single stick, right? And it's just such an easier price point. But I think as Pete and I, even since we launched, I feel like we didn't realize how much a consumer would actually spend for a quality product. I remember, like 24 pack was about $50. And that's a lot, right? For them, a brand that they're not, but once they try the product, they create that stickiness. They love it. I mean, they're willing to spend the premium because they know it's expensive to make and bring to market high quality products. So it's tough. I mean, there's people way smarter than myself that all they do is price pack architecture to figure it out. But you'll continue to kind of challenge and learn and see where you can find it. But the other thing we're seeing, especially in our category, price elasticity is a real thing, right? There is a ceiling, and you have to make sure that you never reach it because then it can have really bad effects on growth.
Yeah, I mean, geographically too, because we've launched this past few months kind of nationwide, more on retail shelves, primarily through DTC and Amazon. And so just learning too of different parts of the country, kind of what is the price elasticity, kind of as we reach new demographics. It's been kind of a new frontier for us than just being on the coast, where people are a little bit more willing to pay some of those more premium price points, understanding the ingredients and why we're using them. And so just the education that now is kind of going into these new areas as we do that.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm always curious, and I usually ask this question in these podcasts around, what is kind of one or two things that you wish you knew now, that you've learned that you wish you knew when you started? I'm just curious.
Yeah, I would say the biggest thing I wish I knew was that there's always going to be delays and people are always going to make mistakes and you're going to be hurrying up to wait always. That was a piece of feedback or a piece of advice that our co-manufacturer provided us. And just to kind of like there's always going to be issues that arise. So kind of being prepared to roll with the punches, trying to ask questions as much in advance to understand what your risks are or what you should be thinking about. I think when we first started out, we didn't anticipate so many different things, and you don't know what you don't know, obviously. Mm-hmm. But I would say surrounding yourself with advisors and people who can help guide you to ask the right questions of your manufacturing partners, of being like, okay, what does the actual lead time look like? Or when should I be starting to source my packaging? Because there's so many different pieces that go into a production run. I would say, yeah, that's what I wish I knew is how long things actually take, and to ask the right questions to set yourself up for that.
Yeah, and also just, I think...
real quick, sorry, did that come across glitchy? I know we were a little delayed.
No,
I think it was good.
Yeah, I think it was good. It was fine.
Okay. Okay, great, awesome. I think we, coming out of our career paths, we were just talking about this for the show of, we kind of get siloed into this career trajectory, and sometimes not feeling like you can get off of it. And so entering like the food space, like not food chemists, not manufacturers, but we learned quickly, we Googled a lot of things, YouTube videoed a lot of things, had each other to kind of, just ask questions about, get curious. And so I think there was just this really expansive moment kind of when we first started the company, like, we can figure this out, we can do this. And we've got amazing people surrounding us as well to help and jump in. But I think just knowing that you're not alone and that you can figure it out, just the kind of confidence boost to do that was something I don't think I would have thought when we were first starting out. But
yeah, it's almost good not knowing what you don't know.
Very
I think
much so.
If I knew what everything would entail, I might have been too scared. So I think that naivete is almost a good thing at the same time, because then you're kind of like, I'll just take the next step, and then the next step, and then the next thing you have a company. But if I known all the steps, I might not have joined. So sometimes it's a good thing not knowing.
Yeah. And like your first point was I think folks don't realize how much time things take, right? I get a little bit exhausted on LinkedIn because everyone's like touting all these wins and successes. And it's like, we've done this long enough where it's like, you can take a few good things, but there's 100 things behind it that failed and didn't go your way. So it's a bit exhausting and so the other founders are seeing this, like, what are we doing wrong? Like, these guys are doing all these wins. So it takes time. You're going to fail way more than you're going to succeed. But I think the best entrepreneurs are ones that make sure they only fail once, right? You make that mistake, but don't make it twice, and also learn from it and figure out why you made the mistake, and make sure you take that into consideration as you go forward. But it's not for the faint at heart. It's a lot of, but I agree with you too that I think Pete and I, right, we don't have a food, we don't have retail, we don't have any CPG background. And we just kind of figured things out along the way, but also surrounded ourselves with really intelligent individuals, asked questions, like had zero pride in moving forward. But I also think it's always funny, because we always say is like, if you ever want to see Pete and I get motivated to get something done, like, tell us that we can't do something. Like, we really thrive when we have like a chip or somebody challenging us. I think it's just the competitiveness, but it's very important.
No, we're the exact same way.
Yeah.
I think you kind of have to be.
Yeah.
All right, let's talk about you guys personally. We'll shift gears a little bit. So you guys obviously had different corporate backgrounds. You guys are both in the fitness world. If you guys weren't doing Elavi now, what would you be doing?
Yeah, we were actually just talking about this. I think health and wellness has always been a through line for me. And if I wasn't in the food space specifically, or starting in CPG, I think I would still be in the fitness wellness category, maybe mental health too, because that's something that I'm also really passionate about, especially being a founder and going through everything the past few years. I would probably be in those spaces and just helping people find resources or access. But I also love products. There's something pretty incredible about having tangible products that can help you or help your consumers, like help you with your life. So something in the product space, I still think I would gravitate towards, and in the better for you, whether it's mental health or physical health.
Yeah, I think if we didn't start Elavi, I would probably still be at my soul-sucking job at the desk doing consulting. I think this really opened my world to not having to kind of just stay on the corporate trajectory and get off of it. I'm really passionate about like small businesses, even working for a big corporation. So something working with founders and with small businesses has always been a passion for mine, coming from a family of founders as well. And just helping build build a product. So that will always be, I think, a part of my journey is working with earlier stage companies.
Imagine that, Rashid, a personal trainer and a consultant started a business together. Never heard that before. Similar storyline right here.
That's amazing.
There you go. Yeah,
that's amazing.
Awesome. So let's talk about brand crushes. That's a good one. So who are you guys? Who's the brand crush right now? Who's out there just killing it? And who do you guys want to emulate?
Yeah, I would say my brand crush right now is Truff Hot Sauce. They're incredible guys, Nick and Nick. We've actually worked out with them. So we're good friends with them. They're also very active and fit and into health and wellness too, which is super fun. Whenever we visit Austin, we'll try to reach out and hang out with them. They have done such a fantastic job of really driving excitement about a premium product with their packaging, with just the whole aesthetic. They make it so giftable. Also, their partnerships are pretty kick-ass. You know, they did a partnership with Hidden Valley Ranch, so epic. Taco Bell, which is pretty funny when you think about it, because they're this premium, elegant brand, and then they're partnering with these brands that you wouldn't necessarily call healthy, but it's kind of getting to that indulgence, but kind of let's level it up a little bit more. So that's kind of what we aspire to be, and they're just all around great guys. So we always love brands that are created by founders that are authentic and genuine and like to help other founders. And we just love their products too. So I would say they're crushing in terms of just product innovation, partnerships, and just, the way they're building their brand. It's so fun to watch and to interact with.
Totally agree. The Nick and Nick, those guys they're good dudes. We hung out with them a few times, and they're really good people. Great product, like you said, that truff effect that they've established. I don't know how they do it, but it's insane. I mean, I honestly feel like that some of those partnerships, they're making some of these big behemoth brands, they're not cool brands, but they're bringing the cool factor to it. It's so smart though, because they're bringing the cool factor to these big brands and allows them to build their brand on top of it. I love it. Yeah. Execution on point.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Who else?
Kind of from a diversity of products, but then this really strong trust and loyalty is Hugh. We always just you pick up crackers or chocolate or cookies. It's baking chocolates. It's all across the board, such incredible quality that you can trust. No matter you don't even have to pick it up and look at the back of the label, because you know that what's in it is going to be good for you. And that is something that we aspire to too. Is just everything we bring to market, everyone just they don't even have to think twice. They just buy it and then they love it. That is
brand trust. Yeah, is key. Yeah. And obviously Chomps is our brand crush. It's funny. I have this story where I was traveling to Argentina with one of my girlfriends, and we had this super crazy long flight, and I went to Trader Joe's and picked up Chomps right before, and I had a couple stashed in my backpack, and all of our luggage was in the back trunk, and she was dying. She was so cranky. She was in just the worst mood ever. And I was like, do you want a Chomp meat stick? And she's like, what's that? And I was like, try it. And so we tried it in the backseat of the car. She's like, oh my God. Immediately, as soon as she went home, she was buying you guys all out. And so it was just so cool to be a part of that travel moment when you're so hungry and you want something salty, not sweet, filling, and just to in the backseat of that car, remember it so vividly. She's like, I will never forget that moment when you saved me with a Chomp stick. Yeah.
Thank you. That was a good review. I like that. I'll Venmo you later. That was.
So where can people find your product? We talked a lot about distribution. I'm curious, online versus retail locations. Where can folks find it?
Yeah, you can grab us online at our website directly, Elavi, ELAVI.co. You can also grab us on Amazon nationwide. We are on Amazon Prime, so you can get that 2-day shipping, which we all love if we're impatient and want things right away. In terms of retail partners.
Yeah, so we, in LA here, Earth Bar, Erewhon, nationwide in Lifetime Fitness cafes. You don't have to be a member to go there. As well as on the East Coast, Juice Press, which is the cafe partner for Equinox on the East Coast.
We're also in Central Market in Texas, and we'll be launching soon in some other big retailers that we can't announce just yet. But yeah, we love to have people buy from us online, just so that we can build a connection with them, transparently get their data and remarket them and
Bring them into the community.
bring them into the community. But it's I think omni-channel is the way to go. You want to grab people where they prefer to shop, and ideally you can be in a place that it's convenient for them. So we try to be in convenient places and places that they could discover us too, which I think is really fun in the alt-channel fitness categories that we have been really focusing on. The Equinox cafes, we're in the Lululemon experiential cafes in Minnesota and Chicago. And so trying to really connect an experience to our product, kind of like I was mentioning with like Chomps in that experience while we were traveling, attaching that experience so that maybe after your favorite like fitness class, or maybe at this event, or maybe at whatever, maybe on an airline or at an airport, you discover us in a moment when you're looking for, a premium, filling, delicious snack to fuel you to what you have going on next. So I think that's also what our goal is too in our distribution placement.
Yeah, it's important. Not all doors it's created equal. I think you want to make sure where the consumer gets what you're trying to do, because otherwise you have to invest a ton in trade to be able to convince them. They have to be moving in the direction. So it seems like you're in a lot of fantastic places. I loved getting to know you guys and spending time today. It was awesome to hear about your journey, and look forward to staying in touch.
Thank you so much. This has been so fun.
It was great. Yeah, inspired you both so much. So thanks for having us on.